The shadows are. Hello, TCI family, Jonathan's Refuge, all of our family and friends from around the globe. Sorry about the glow and the lighting. It is being worked on, but we come to you tonight with our new family member, Belle. Everybody say hi to Belle. That's Belle. She's now how many weeks this Saturday? 12?
No, 13.
13 weeks this Saturday. She doubled her weight from when we got her at 10 pounds to 20 in just 4 weeks. She's going to be a big girl. Let's jump right into the message. You're wondering, wait, why is the bishop there and who is he with? Those, did you guys notice? I just want this to be known. Some have questioned my, sainthood has been questioned. Have you noticed the light around me and the shadow cast from these two?
Oh, good.
I'm just pointing it out that possibly the bishop is saintly. It's proof. Conspiracy theorists. Talk tomorrow.
Oh, no.
I have two ladies with me. You all know one of them. This is the first lady of TCI. I happen to have the pleasure of being married to her also, and very excited. So thank you, honey, for coming. You guys all know Cece Brown, one of the first bishops in our Bishop of College of Bishops. And, of course, we have another member of the family. Her name is Amanda. Amanda is a case specialist at one of our nonprofits and works with us. And I'm very excited to have them here tonight. If you see them being distracted and the thing be the TV stand, which is a very, very expensive piece of equipment that our dog just loves to chew on in the studio because she knows that I won't stop production, even with all the lighting wrong. I'm going to fry her when we're done. Okay, so what is it that I'm going to talk about? It's real simple. What's one of the worst things that you've experienced? And I'm sure you could say there's a bunch of things. But what's one of the worst things that you've ever lived through? And if you could summarize one word that got you through it, and if you could take 5 minutes and tell us how you got through it.
The day I received a text message from my biological mom that said, "I hate you." It kind of solidifies what you've already known, but it confirms too, like, thank you for confirming to me what I've always felt. And I'm that child that was supposed to be unseen, not heard. I didn't exist, but I do. And that happened to me when I turned 49. And if I had not been with some other people who truly loved me and knew that side of the family, they were shocked. They were like, wow. And they totally then could understand and see my perspective of what they didn't see. And it actually brought up some trauma for them. So my way of getting around it is to then say to her, because she's younger than me, I'm remembering I have a purpose in life as I've always known. And it gets solidified when those messages come to me that are heartbreaking, that I'm here for a purpose and I can't allow that woman to call me her mistake because I didn't make the mistake. I'm here. I exist and there's a purpose and a reason for me. So that's something I have to self-reflect on, and it's taken me many years and took me a lot of years. But that very day, I reminded myself that there's God. And as I say it, I get goosebumps, God bumps, whatever you want to call it. He's there for me. I've always felt him. People say, when was that moment? When was that moment? I think because of what I grew through, maybe what I went through as a child, he's always been there. I've always felt a presence of somebody who was taking care of me. And so I would call it faith, I don't know, or relationship, because faith is relationship, but that's what I feel like is missing when I look at a lot of people in their lives, is that they just don't know and have a relationship with God. And once they do, and they understand how much he loves them and that he has a purpose for them, and that's what we do in GCS, is we try to help people see themselves and see that God created them for a purpose and to help them find their purpose.
For those that don't know, GCS is one of the many nonprofits that the Church of Inclusion works with. And that we oversee.
Yep.
So what one word would summarize it then? You're saying?
Faith, knowing that I have a purpose and that God created me for that purpose.
Okay, very nice. Amanda.
got all teary-eyed on that
I'm sure
one.
you've got many stories, but what's one of the worst things that's happened to you? And if you could put it into one word, that was the thing that got you through it, and how'd you get through it? And if you could do that in like 5 minutes for us, I'd appreciate it.
My addiction was the worst thing that I've ever lived through. It should have taken me out. I shouldn't be here. I should have died 10 times over again. Yeah, Cece talked about purpose. Like, there's definitely a purpose for me. Just being spared as many times as I was. And it was hard. I mean, I lost it, first I was a functioning addict, and then all of a sudden I lost everything. And it was really a really tough pill to swallow. I think the final blow was, I remember sitting in the rundown RV that I was living in, and it was winter time. I was freezing cold, and I hadn't showered, eaten, slept, and I was all alone. I just spent the last Christmas alone. It had been 3 in a row that I'd spent alone, I believe. And then my daughter had said she hated me, wanted nothing to do with me until I changed my life. And my dad had just gotten his cancer diagnosis. So the 2 most important people in my world. And I, was broken and lost. And I remember I was going to take my life that night. And I wrote my goodbye letter to my daughter and my family. And I got down on my knees, and I don't know what compelled me to pray. It was just crazy, because I just jumped down to the floor, and it was a shag carpet with ice on it, and it was freezing. And the sound that came out of me was so shocking. It was guttural, and it was the cry of like somebody that had held so many years of pain back. And I just cried, and I just said, God, if there's something bigger for me out there, then you need to let me know, and you need to speak with me so I can hear you, because I'm done. And by the grace of God, I don't remember anything else from the rest of that night. I fell asleep. I woke up literally to somebody knocking on the RV door saying that there were caseworkers at the front gate wanting to offer help to anybody that wanted to get help. And I didn't know that those services were available. I had no idea. And so he spoke to me, and I've never looked back. And now I try to make it my purpose and my mission to help other people that are struggling and going through the dark days of addiction. It's not something anybody ever says in school when they ask you to raise your hand and ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? Nobody says you want to be a junkie. That's not what you ever choose to be. But it grips you. And when it does, it takes everything from you. It doesn't discriminate. And I feel like my purpose is here helping other people that want to find a better way of life. And the one word that probably strength. You never know how strong you are until you have to be. And when you have nothing, I had to be stripped of everything to hear God's message. If I had all the things that I had before I lost everything in my addiction, I wouldn't have heard the message. But he's very much there. He's never left me. I forsaked him. He didn't forsake me. And my God's not a vengeful God. He didn't do this to me. And my self-will did this to me. And so, yeah, strength and being able to look at myself. What's that word that you, when you're very, you're looking within yourself, you find your character flaws, your self-reflection. Yeah. And being able to do that, which is not always easy, but sometimes we have to, and we grow from that if we allow it to happen. So,
yes.
2 amazing stories. Each could be given an amazing chance to interview, and I'd love to actually someday go back and go through these. But I want to spend the next 5 minutes or so with you kind of going back and forth and just talking as a group about some of the things that you're just talking about. I know a lot of people can relate to both stories, addictions, alcohol, drugs, whatever the addictions have been to, being considered that you were, a mistake in life by your own, the person who birthed you. These are the people that are supposed to be the ones that love us the most. And so to hear that and not like, oh, well, you misunderstood me, you were a kid, but to be reaffirmed at an older age of 49. Wow. So when you think of those kind of things, and I hear your stories, these 2 ladies' remarkable stories and how they overcame it with strength and faith. I think I want to just encourage you to hang on. People hear that all the time. Just hang on, man. Keep your head up. Sometimes I used to always say, if another person says, keep your head up, I'm going to show them, what I think of that. Okay. Because sometimes to me it's insulting. It's like, keep your head up, man. Well, really, what else is there? But there is alternatives. I mean, people can take their life. That is a sad result. Some people throwing in the towel and just saying, I can't do this anymore. But here's hope in front of you. One story from something that they didn't do anything to deserve to another story that was self-inflicted, and both tragic stories, both had to come to this realization that something had to get them out of there, and that it was inside of them, inside of this one, to be loved by herself, and that she is worthy. And this other amazing person to realize that it's going to take her and everything she's got, but God's got her back. Let's go. You've got the strength. Let's go. It's within you. What do you think? I mean, looking at people that don't feel loved, what do you think the number one thing they should focus on? Is there anything you would advise them to do to feel loved?
Envelop their lives with positive influences, whether it be people. Back in the day when I didn't want to be around people, and I recommend this to a lot of my clients who are homebodies, if you want to call them that, not good. Some people will say, well, I know that the reason that I'm this way is because I have a hard time dealing with others. Some guy said, I don't get out because I know I'm going to get in trouble if I do. So I think videos, YouTube all day long. You can listen to YouTube.
So surrounding yourself with positive
yes,
and not negative is important, because I agree with that. You guys all know me. I mean, there's a reason they call me Mr. Positive. Anywhere I go at any given day, I've got a book in every car that I drive, and I'm at a certain point in that book, and I know where I'm at. So I pick the car I'm driving because I'm like, I want to finish that chapter today. And you're always reading things, right? Why do you do that? Why do you listen to Audible stuff? She plays her playlist. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And she's dancing around, prancing all over the house. And I'm like, oh, my Lord, lady, it's 6 in the morning. And she's like, it's my playlist. I'm like, I know. Undo your ears. We can all hear the whole neighborhood. But she has a routine. And so do I. I have mine. And we all do it. Everyone has their own. But you definitely need to surround yourself with a positive light. And like attracts like, which means if I'm a negative person, negativity is going to attract to me. I'm a perfectionist in some areas, yes. So I can assure you by next week, this lighting thing you see going on here, that'll all be fixed. And I will surround myself with people who are perfectionists in that area to work in that, because like attracts like. People are going to want to do what I want to do, and they're going to go, I like that guy. He likes to do things to get it done and make sure they're good. So if you're negative, you're going to attract negative people. If you're positive, you're going to attract positive people.
Gratitude too. I think, there's a saying with addicts, grateful addict doesn't get loaded, but that can go for anybody's situation. You have two choices. You can look at your situation and do the woe's me and why me and play a victim, or you can be your own victor in your story and be appreciative and grateful for what you have in your life. Do you live in a mansion? No. But do you have a roof over your head? Yes. It's changing our mental outlook, the good, positive mental outlook, and changing the way you think. We are, for some reason, in our DNA as humans, it's in our heads to have a negative dialogue. And so it's almost taking like a smoking habit and trading it for a positive habit. Same thing with your thinking. You can't be controlled by your negative dialogue. You have to change that dialogue and have it become a positive thing, and be grateful for what you have and what you have in your life. You focus on what you don't, you're always going to be miserable. If you focus on what you have, you're going to be happy.
It's funny what you just said, because it's true. And remember, two different stories, one is self-inflicted, one not. Great example, no matter which, you guys, all of our stories either fall under self-inflicted or non-self-inflicted, right? Someone did something to us that we didn't do anything to get happen, in a scenario of your mom, and others like myself who went to prison. I committed a lot of crimes. Others who did drugs, others who tried to destroy their lives. We've all done things. But I think that's the key, is being surrounded by people who want to help you go that next step in your life is important, that you focus on being around people that are positive. I don't spend much time with negative people. You'll see me, no matter what organization I'm in of mine. And if you start, and the president and the news like that, I'm like, no, that's great. Yeah. And you'll see it. You'll be like, have people come out, hey, what's up with Rev, dude? He didn't is he upset at me or something? No. Were you talking all that negative stuff? Yeah, he doesn't stick around for that. If you start talking negative, he's kind of like, all right, man, take care. God bless. I love you. It's not that I don't want to hear negative things, but the truth is, there's so much negative stuff out there.
Yeah.
I already have to deal with it on a daily basis in my companies, in my church, in my organizations. I don't need to continue to but do you know? You know, it's funny. I've survived all the market crashes, and I didn't know everything. It's okay. We're going to weather the storms. God will help us through this. We will help ourselves through this.
Yes.
But one of the things that I do want to mention is interesting, because when you look at how you're trying to get help and try to pull yourself out of something, you got two different backgrounds. Some people, Amanda, might say, well, I deserve all that I've got because I did this to myself. Do you ever feel like that, having done something that's, like you told me, I remember once we were talking about your daughter, and that was very emotional for you. And I know from counseling many people as a bishop that I've had to counsel people like, okay, first off, yes, it's horrible what you did. Yes, that's bad. But it doesn't mean going forward you're that same person. That was that person, but that you severed it, and now you're this new person. Do you ever run into that a lot?
Yes, I do. And with my own family, actually, it's the hardest. They're the ones that are the hardest ones to let go of who I used to be.
Yeah.
And it's hard. So the boundaries I have to make very clear. And I had an incident like we discussed with my daughter just this week. And you know, I get emotional talk about her because I'm very proud of her. She's an amazing daughter. But she kind of pulled a jerk move and you know, but she's trial and error, 18, you know, she's learning.
Kids.
But she, you know, sometimes she forgets that mom's not the same person as I used to be, and you will not treat me like I am. And that's up to me to determine how people treat me. I can't get mad at how people treat me because I allow it or I don't allow it. So I nipped it right in that moment. And she called last night and was crying, Mom, I'm sorry. I love you. I should never have been like that. And she learned from it. So yeah, I run into it a lot, mainly with the people I'm closest to, which is so weird and odd. But
Well, there's a scripture where Jesus was talking in the Bible, for those that were raised in the Bible in the New Testament, and he was preaching in Nazareth, which was where he was from. That's where the story of Joseph and Mary, the carpenter, you know, and Jesus was born to the carpenter. That town, Joseph was the carpenter in the town. So everybody knew Joseph and everybody knew Jesus and everybody knew Mary. Well, flash forward, now he's 33 and he's the Christ, and he's teaching in that city and Nazareth, and then everyone's like, "Oh my God, did you hear that the healer, the miracle, the man of the gods? He's here!" And they're like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!" And they're like, "You mean Joseph's son, Jesus ben Joseph, son of Joseph?" That's the carpenter's boy. He said that you're not known. The prophet is not known in their own home. Not that my wife does this, but I'll be honest with you. Most pastors that I preach, that I've preached at their churches and I counsel as their bishop, their biggest obstacle is their family doesn't respect them as a minister. Most wives and children of a minister will not hear anything he says. But a traveling minister comes in and speaks the same words of a message, and the whole family's like, "He's a genius, Dad." You're like, "Hey, you knucklehead, I just preached the same words 6 months ago." But it doesn't matter. They won't respect you. They don't listen to you. And it's what Jesus referred to as people they don't respect the prophet from their own town. And there's ways to overcome it. Now, I'm blessed to have a wife that respects me, and she's blessed to have a husband that we have this relationship with each other. But some people don't, and a lot of families don't. That's why we also treat our family usually the worst, okay? And I and everyone here I know has done this, but we treat our family the worst because we know they're going to be here for us forever, right? They won't leave me. She won't divorce me no matter how mean I am. You know, he wouldn't leave me if I yelled at him every morning. I mean, I do give him Tuesday mornings off. Let's be realistic. We do. We all do it because we think, you know, we got till tomorrow. We can fix it. We can fix it. And then your moms and dads and sons and children and people say, "I'm good. Nice talking to you. Bye." And so you're abandoned and left alone.
Or life happens and they pass or something go like that, and then you don't get a chance to, you know what I mean? We take each other. I think it's human to take each other for granted. We don't need to.
And no matter where you're at in the process, I think some of us have learned how to build families.
Yes.
You know, some of us have had to have, if you look right above us, it says, "Suck it up, buttercup." That whole stand up there of yellow looking flowers and everything up there is Vivi Alvarez. And he's my spiritual dad, Vivi. And he knew me. He cut my hair. The first man to ever cut my hair. He was a world famous hairstylist. And Vivi was my spiritual dad. So I was grateful to have 3 dads in my life. And he was one of them. And so, I mean, Cece's got the same thing. He's got Mama Noreen, and, you know, Papa Chuck adopted her into her life. And so I think we create our own families. And that's not new things, by the way. That's the same as it's been forever.
Yeah.
We all create our own families as we go through life. Some's blood, some's adopted, some's chosen. But at the end of the day, we all, if we have faith, if we have strength, as these women have shared with us today, their stories, a little bit of their stories, I ask that you this week, as you go out there, that you have faith and know that you're loved. Have faith in God, the faith that God loves you, because you are worthy, as Miss Cece, the first lady and first bishop female of our organization. And she has a tough task. They actually have given her the title of she's supposed to be the ringmaster and, like, I guess, rein me in a little. I kind of feel bad for her, but at the same time, I have fun. And I'm grateful for her message to you all tonight. And of course, Amanda, I thank you for coming and sharing with the church and your story. And we look forward to many more. God bless you guys. Remember, live positive and live positive with strength and faith. Whose phone was that?